Jim Gray here with the Down the Road podcast, an episode called The Endless Treadmill of Promoting Your Work. My father was a cabinet maker. He made gorgeous, bespoke furniture out of wood. It was extremely well designed. It was built with traditional joinery, and he had a devil of a time building a market to sell it in. He worked for a factory most of the time I was growing up, but as soon as I finished college, he went into business for himself making this furniture. And he ended up closing the business 5 or 6 years later because he just couldn't build a clientele. And it wasn't that the clientele wasn't out there to be built. It's that my father was so much more interested in actually making the furniture than he was in building the clientele through the work that would entail. Boy, do I identify with him as a fellow who has a creative streak as well in writing and photography. I really like writing and I really like making photographs. And I want the world to be able to read my words and see my images, but the work necessary to put it out there in the world and attract people to it isn't all that interesting or exciting to me. But I make my stabs at it. One of the things that I do is share on social media, and that is the thing that I do that gets the most return for my investment. I created a page for my blog on Facebook, and I share my posts to groups on Facebook that are relevant to the things that I write about and take pictures of. That works pretty well. Facebook sends me a fair amount of traffic every year because of those shares. Another thing I do is content marketing, which is just me going to other people's platforms and talking about things that are interesting to both of us, and then I can plug my work as I go. Another thing that I do is write my monthly newsletter. And if you're interested in receiving my monthly newsletter, go to my blog at blog.jimgray.net, click the follow link, and you can sign up for both my blog and my newsletter there. If I were already well known for some other reason, I would have an easier time of this. I think about the fellow who was in the show, My Name is Earl, Jason something or other, whose name escapes me at the moment. You probably remember it. He is also a film photographer, and he's published some books of his work. But because he has this built-in audience of folks who followed him on television and in the movies, he has had a much easier time getting his work out there. So for mere mortals like me, and I assume you, all we can do is keep grinding away at this. And over time, you can build a large enough audience. I've been at the blog now for 17 years. And over this time, I've built about 10,000 followers. And I would say probably 1,000 of them are really engaged. When I publish one of my books, I'm lucky if I sell 100. That's about the ceiling. That's not bad in this day and age. My most recent book, by the way, Under the Catalpa Tree, which is available now. If you go to midnightstarpress.com and click the first link, you'll see it. I've sold 12. That's a little disappointing. It's a little slower than I normally do, but it's not out of line, right? Because I'm just an average person with hopefully some skills that are pleasing to people, but not a built-in audience that would just immediately buy hundreds of copies of anything that I publish. The thing that all of us hope for are those lucky breaks where somebody who is well known republishes our work or links to it more likely and brings us a lot of new audience members who will be interested. So for all of us who are creative, it's a lot of work to build a good audience that will follow you. And if you have things that you want to sell, to buy those things, you have to be willing to go through that grind. So you have to find things to enjoy along the way. And for me, that is writing the daily blog. I really love doing that. I love interacting with the people who come by. I have a number of regulars who leave comments. I love hearing from every one of them every day. If you're one of them, thank you. And you have to find the pleasure and joy in that, and hope that one day you catch on. And if you don't, then you had plenty of joy just doing the things that you were doing. I'm Jim Gray. We'll do this again next week.